So I'm here today with Cheyenne Williams. She is also a podcast host, a mindset and holistic wellness coach, a mental health therapist, a global and health wellness business owner, and I'm so amazed to see so many certifications and to hear that you're also certified in mental health, trauma recovery, and also you have a degree in criminal psychology. That's so cool. I loved your experience that you're more than 10 years in this mental health field, and that your passion is to educate others on how to unleash their unapologetic desires through cognitive reframing and gut healing. It seems like you have like an integrative approach to help people, and I love that. I love that when we are not, really niching down to only specific part of the healing journey, because in the healing journey we all have different challenges, and we also need mindset, we need body, we need emotional, we need energetic healing. So I love that you're doing this. Tell me a little bit more about how you help people and what clients you have, and what is your business basically feels like in the moment.
Yeah, so I help everyone. Um, Obviously, like my target audience is women, but I do take on a lot of male clients as well. But ultimately, like the mind and body, it's connected, and a lot of people don't realize that you can take care of your mental health, but it still has a physical impact. And just like how you could take care of your physical body, like your body doesn't work unless your brain is functioning properly. And so I just always been very focused on like the holistic and whole person approach, especially since I battled with my own mental health. And so for me, I was a trauma survivor of physical and sexual abuse. And I just didn't want to be that person that was like prescribed medication and lived my whole life on medication and just did all the things that doctors would tell me to do, which sounds a little hypocritical since I'm in the psychology field. But I just wanted to kind of change the realm. I wanted to be different. I didn't want to be your normal psychologist or counselor. And I really wanted to help people holistically. And so I dived in on how to use food as medicine through the ingredients we're using, even the personal care products that we're putting onto our skin, because all of that still impacts your hormones, which impacts your mental health. And so I just genuinely really wanted people to feel their best self. And by doing that, you have to focus on the mind, body, and soul. And so that is my mission. My mission is to guide people to tap into their unapologetic desires by reframing their mindset, taking control of their thoughts, and at the same time healing their body from the holistic food approach so that everything is in alignment. So everything, all of my businesses kind of just go hand in hand with each other, from my network marketing business that is, focusing on holistic nutritional products and personal care products, to my coaching business, which helps with the cognitive reframement, and then my mental health counseling as well. So it kind of just all flows naturally together, which I think is why I'm able to juggle all of it at the same time. But yeah, so I don't discriminate. I accept everyone. I welcome everyone. And I just want everyone to feel their absolute best.
Wow, that's so cool. And I'm so amazed to hear that we have similar experiences. I graduated from psychology 12 years ago, and I also did a master's in business psychology. And when I graduated, basically I didn't saw myself practicing talk therapy, because I was doing talk therapy in the same time as I was taking my degrees, and I was like for 5 years in talk therapy, but I still had the same partners. I was still having the same money in my bank account. I had like I had the same weight problems. Like nothing really changed. Like yeah, I had some insights. It was really I felt good investing in myself every week to go to therapy, but the root causes of my problems didn't change. So that's why I decided in time to um, learn different perspectives of the human being, right? I learned hypnotherapy to work with the subconscious mind and the place where the root causes of our challenges are. I learned human design, so we can also use the innate gifts or skills that we are born with, so we can accentuate them in our lives and in our businesses. Then I use the business coaching that I learned in my master's degrees. And also I did a lot of body work with, like, in any country I was visiting, basically I did workshops there, and I met teachers that work with the body. So I started using embodiment practices for myself as well. And in time, I developed a process that's called subconscious money healing, that has all these tools. And it's, as you say as well, it's like a holistic approach. We look into all these different parts, so we can have the bigger picture and understand where the root cause is and how can we work with it. So I love this. I love your businesses, and I love that you have all these different practices that creates this holistic approach. And I'm really curious. How was your old money story? How was the environment you grew up in? What was the belief that you inherited? And then I'm going to share mine as well.
Yeah. So growing up, I grew up in like a normal lifestyle. Like my parents, they invested a lot into like my sports, and they sent us to private schools, and like they always provided the best they could, you know? And so growing up, I never really had like a mindset around money because we weren't the wealthiest, but my parents always tried to give us things we wanted and desired. And so it wasn't really until high school when my dad had gotten sick, he lost his job, and then we were also going to a private high school, but with like the upper scaled families that were kind of out of our socio class. And that is when like the money mindset kind of took like a negative impact because I started to see my parents struggling. And then with them struggling financially, you know, they started to argue more. And then I felt like the outcast at school because I wasn't wearing the designers. I didn't live in the mansion. People didn't want to be my friend because I didn't come from a wealthy family. And so that's kind of when I formed the mindset of like people who were wealthy were snobbish. And that sounds really bad to say, but like that's what I kind of just associated with. I associated people who had money as being these rude, like stereotypical, I can't associate with people who aren't matching my success. And I kind of just ran with that. And when I went to college, I had my daughter at 19 and was struggling financially to the point where I literally had to like steal for food, live paycheck to paycheck. Like I was living on the floor just with a pillow and blanket. Like it was rough, but I was managing and it almost became my comfortable. Like I was comfortable and became comfortable with struggling so that fast forward 5 years, now that I am building this wealth and this generational wealth and you know, living this lifestyle that I was only dreaming of back in high school, I started to have a lot of limiting beliefs. Like it was uncomfortable to have that much money in my bank account. It was uncomfortable to be able to buy things without thinking about it, right? It was uncomfortable, like feeling like I was spoiling my kids. And I just had to like really fight through that and be like, no, like I worked my butt off to get here. Like this is okay. Like I'm self-made.
Mhm.
Like I wasn't handed this. Like I should appreciate this. And I had to do a lot of work around that. You know, I had to like, I tried to talk therapy, even coming from a counselor, like talk therapy just wasn't my thing. And I actually sought out like a grief counselor to help with my trauma that eventually played a role into my money mindset. And then I also like met up with a hypnotherapist that is still my transformational coach to this day. She's absolutely amazing. But again, she was helping me with a lot of that money work. And she was just like, I had to learn and I had to teach myself that like not everybody with money thinks they're better, right? Like there are people who are successful and wealthy and they're humble still. And that's the person I wanted to be. I wanted to use my money for good. I want to be able to help others and impact others ways that I wasn't able to impact others when I wasn't financially successful. And so yeah, it kind of like it had to change. I'm still working on things to this day. Like I still battle with some limiting beliefs as my businesses become more successful. But ultimately, like it's just, I had to get out of my own way of saying, you're not going to be that stuck up person just because you're making more money than your friends. And that you can still be friends with everybody and you might have to set certain boundaries, but like you don't have to now be with the upper class because you live like the upper class. You can be friends and equal with everybody.
So many gold nuggets in what you said. I tried to remember everything because I want to discuss more from what you shared. First of all, congrats for everything you've done. You're amazing for managing to overcome those tough times and to not only overcome them, but learn some lessons from them and transform yourself into a more powerful version of yourself. And that's so amazing. Congrats for that. It felt so inspiring to hear your story. And of course, we all have some things that are still, work in progress. There's no one in the whole world that's 100% sure on themselves, or they're totally happy with their money situation. Like even millionaires, they still want to reach their next wealth level. We always have goals that we're working on. So I don't believe in perfectionism, or I don't believe that we will ever settle down with our desires. Our desires will grow along with us. So I'm really happy that you made that disclaimer, and uh, you basically you had your childhood was really happy with money. Let's say you didn't have limiting beliefs there; they formed later. And I love how you identify a core limiting belief, like in my practice as well. We think that we have maybe I'm not good enough to deserve money, or maybe I compare myself with other women, or maybe, I need to work. I have this belief of I need to work hard for money, but in fact, underneath it all, we have a core belief that really keeps us stuck. And when we identify that belief, that's the moment where the big shifts happen. Until we get into that point, we really work with the superficial layers that we think block us, but those are just the conscious interpretations. Basically, when we find that core belief, is also the moment when we unblock ourselves. And I love that you identify it as the rich people are bad, like this differentiation between the wealthier people that are the bad people. And I love your reframe that it doesn't matter if you have money or don't have money. You can be bad either way. You can be a bad person either way. Money doesn't make you good or bad. It's just a neutral resource, and it's an archetype that we give significance and symbolism. And I feel like our discussion has also like a core theme, and that's how traditional therapy doesn't really work for unblocking money beliefs, especially those rooted causes that are from years ago, or that are really ingrained in our subconscious mind. So I have two questions for you that really I would love your opinion on it. First of all, to explain from your point of view, why don't you think that traditional therapy works? And how hypnotherapy helped you overcome your money mindset? Because you said that the biggest shift was for you to work with the hypnotherapist that you're still working today, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious.
So, no, those are great questions. So the first one, traditional, like traditional therapy, it was created like hundreds of years ago by white men who just like had this certain idea, and it never shifted. It never shifted with modern mindset, modern society. It always stayed dated. And talk therapy is great. But at the same time, if you're always talking about things, you're just continuing to relive them. So it's not really helping solve the problem. It's just allowing you to like keep bringing it up and reminding yourself of what is wrong with you and what you're struggling with. And I always say like traditional therapy focuses on your current symptoms, not at the underlying factors. And there's a lot of underlying factors that cause those presenting symptoms that we struggle with on a daily basis. And if you're not getting into the root of what is really causing those things, you're kind of just putting a band-aid over it. And so for me, like, I talk therapy is like great because obviously you have to talk to understand, but it's more of like, okay, tell me about your childhood. Tell me about your parenting. How did your parents parent you, right? Like, what is your relationship styles? Have you had relationships problems in the past? Like, tell me about your life. And then taking those common themes of maybe they've had failed relationships over and over and over again, or maybe their parents were not in the picture, or maybe they had blocks or traumas, and then focusing on that and trying to like narrow it down and funnel it down to what is like in their subconscious that they may not even like realize. And traditional therapy doesn't do that. Talk therapy doesn't do that. It kind of just talks about how's your day? How are you feeling? Right. And that's not going to help solve the underlying problem. Um, and then as for hypnotherapy, I was always skeptical going in, like, even with my first time with meeting my hypnotherapist, I was just like, oh, this is going to be so weird. I can't believe I signed up for this. And I remember the very first session, she was like, okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about your life. Start from infancy. And I'm like, who the heck remembers like when they're 2 years old? And she did this hypno practice with me where my grandma had passed away from Alzheimer's and I was away at college when she did. So I never got my closure. Like, we were really close. That's where I spent all of my summers. But when she passed away, like, I couldn't even attend her funeral because financially I couldn't afford to fly back home from school. And so that always like stayed and like put a stain on my heart. And so our first hypnotherapy session, she brought me back to that day. And I literally, visually, physically, emotionally, like felt my grandma's presence and like heard her voice. And I was like, this is so dope. This is so weird. Like, I need to do more of this. And I just continued to do it. And I love the fact that it allows you to tap into a part of you that you get uncomfortable talking about. Because for me, like, every time I used to bring up about my sexual abuse or my physical abuse, or even just like any resentment I may have had towards my daughter for being a teen mom, like, I would get like a cotton ball in my throat. I would get shaky. I would have all of these triggering factors that would make it hard to talk. And so I may just touch the surface, but I would never go into details because it would make me uncomfortable. And with hypnotherapy, I was able to talk about it from my like underlying subconscious without that fear of, I feel like I'm choking every time I bring it up. And so it was really like allowing me to do the deep work that I really needed because it was tapping into a deeper part of me rather than just what Cheyenne's trying to remember or what I feel comfortable sharing. So yeah, so now I'm like, everybody needs to do hypnotherapy. It's the best thing ever.
Oh my God, I'm so it's so your experience is so different than mine. Like, I heard on TV about hypnosis when I was little, and for me it was a click. Then I was like, I need to try this. I need to see how this feels. But in traditional, like in my college, in my studies, hypnotherapy wasn't like that appreciated, more traditional therapy and classical therapy. So it was only after I graduated from both my BA and my master's degree, and I was like for years, like it was already 5 years where I was living the same story. It was the third toxic relationship I was in, the same money in my bank account. So I decided, okay, let's try something else, because what I've tried until now, and I was trying like Jungian therapy with dream analysis. I
Mm-hmm.
tried traditional therapy, art therapy, like with writing and drawing and modeling stuff. I tried a lot of stuff, and I said, okay, let's try something different. Let's try hypnosis. Why not? It's something that I always wanted, and it works with the subconscious. And from my first session, like I have goosebumps right now. It was mind blowing. Like after I was in traditional therapy, after a session, I was like, interesting insight. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go home and journal about it,
Yeah.
and that's what that was it. And with hypnotherapy, with hypnosis, it was like I told, okay, the hypnotherapist said, let's start with the relationship, and we went back in time, like to the moment my father told me that they will get a divorce. And like I was seeing him in hypnosis, I was seeing him like he was in front of me, and he was like telling me again everything. And I smelled the trees, I felt the sun on my skin. It was like I was there, but heightened with a heightened
Yeah.
experience, and it was mind blowing. Like we have all our memories in our subconscious mind, and we can access them through hypnosis. Like I don't remember consciously what I ate yesterday, like I'm with my head in the clouds all the time. So I forget things all the time. But when I'm going to hypnosis, I can remember with all the details everything about the event that I want to access. So yeah, that's why it became my work, because I want more and more people to try it and to see it. That and what's sad is that it's even harder after you do years of therapy to try something that really works, because you're in the point of disappointment. Maybe you gave a lot of money, you invested a lot in therapy, and you're like lost hope, because if I did all this work and I'm still at the same financial plateau, I have the same partners all over again, why try anything else? And my work is somehow to show people that after this point there is the breakthrough, is the hope that changes everything. So
Mm-hmm.
it's so beautiful that we had the same the same
Yeah.
journey in a way. So I'm curious, from your point of view, what is your recipe for success?
Self-care, honestly. Like I'm very big on like energy and human design also. So I'm a manifesting generator. Like
Yeah,
I need
cool.
my self-care, and I just can't explain that enough to other people. Like sometimes we get so caught up in like the hustle and the grind and trying to achieve our dreams, but it's like eventually you're going to get burned out from working, working, working all the time. And so sometimes you just have to like tap into that feminine energy and just chill out and reset and just be present in what makes you and brings you joy. And so for me, self care is a big one. Like I make sure that my work and life balance is equal no matter what season of my business I'm in. Obviously, sometimes I might have more time to tap into my feminine energy than others, but no matter what, like I have daily non-negotiables that I do. So for me, that looks like every day I wake up and I kind of call it my miracle morning. I meditate, I do my daily gratitudes, I say my affirmations, I do some like brain dump journaling. I listen to a podcast. Like I don't even look at my phone for probably the first hour of my day. And then after that, I'm like, okay, let me take my supplements, let me take my vitamins, let me like go get dressed. And then I will like check my phone and get to work. But I also like make sure I have family time. So every Friday night, like me and my man, we have a date night, non-negotiable. We put away our phones and we just have that intentionality with each other. And same thing with my kids. I give them 30 minutes at least every single day to just be present with the kids. I put my phone away, we'll watch movies, we'll color, we'll get on the floor and play, we'll take them to the park, whatever. But just making sure that I don't just get into the bubble of working, which obviously is a good thing because you can build your business faster, but you have to have a balance. And so self-care is kind of a non-negotiable balance for me and something that I tell everyone you need to have to prevent that burnout.
I think we are soulmates or something like that. Like I can't stress this enough to my clients. Like because they tried a lot of stuff, like a lot of therapies, a lot of strategies, business stuff, they come to me really burnout. So they're like, let's go and get a lot of work and do a lot of hypnosis and get this over with. And I'm like, no, first you rest. First, let's create some morning rituals. Like my first session is we create a morning ritual for them to give themselves only a few minutes per day, but ideal is like, as you said, 1 hour in time. For me, for example, I was really like, first thing when I woke up, I opened my phone, and I'm a projector, so I don't have a lot of energy. When I go online the first thing in the morning, and all those energies imprint into my body and in my subconscious mind, like I feel burnout at 1 o'clock, I want to sleep. So I learned that I need to protect my energy. So now in time, like 5 minutes today, then the next day 10 minutes, and now I open my phone after lunch, like I want at 1 o'clock, and I do my morning rituals, as you said. I plan my day. I do some work for my business. I eat lunch with my partner, and then I go to social media. Then when I have my cup filled, then I go and give to others. And I felt it was so good for me to do this. Like it was one of the biggest shifts I did, because from this place we make space for manifestations to come in. If we're constantly working and hustling, we don't make room, to receive opportunities, for clients to come on us, for money to come into our space, because we don't allow that space to exist. We're constantly in the masculine, doing, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to create this podcast. I wanted to show revolutionary ways of women creating their business in another way, in a way that feels good, that's sustainable, that you want to do this in 1, 5, 10 years from now on. And you know that you cannot wait to wake up and do the things, and not want to run away, because that would be like another regular job, right? So
Mhm.
hustling culture is so old school, and I'm preaching to everybody, like to all of my clients, you're not coming to me for a classical business. I will let you know that you come to me for a business that you work a few hours per day. You're really focused, like you do your job, you do your part, you show up, but then you relax. Then you create space for the feminine, for the being, for the relaxing. And yeah, I'm so happy that we're both leaders of the new paradigm. And now, for our listeners, how they can work with you? What are your offerings, and where they can find you
Yeah.
to benefit from your holistic, amazing approach?
Yeah, so they can find me on Instagram. That's mostly where I'm at. You can find me at underscore Cheyenne Williams. It's Cheyenne Williams. Um, and I'm always in the DMs, so shoot me a message and I'll get back to you probably that same day. But current offers, I am always looking for ambitious, goal driven women who are wanting to generate an extra stream of earnings from their cell phone, and share luxury health and wellness products with their friends and family and network. And then I also am offering one on one mindset coaching. I have 8 spots available right now. So you can shoot me a DM for more information on that. And then I have 5 spots available for my gut healing program. And again, that's one on one mentoring. You get the cognitive reframing, but then you also get the gut healing coaching. And we do meal planning and all of the nutritional and mental health stuff with that program. So I have 5 spots available for that. And again, they can reach out to me on Instagram for more information, or they can just shop on my personal health and wellness business at Cheyenne Williams 254140069.arbonne.com. And that is where they can get all things vegan, plant-based, nutritional, skincare, body care products. So yeah, so if they are wanting to do one-on-one mindset, business coaching, or just wanting to heal their body and mind together, I do have openings, and it is global, it's online, so I take people from all over.
Yes, praise to Lord for that we're able to, like, my favorite thing is to learn different money stories from different parts of the world, because I'm in Europe, so we have here some beliefs that are more predominant. In the US it's a little bit of different mindset, different system with money, like student loans,
Yeah.
and um it's so amazing to work online with women from all over the world. So it's lovely that you have spreaded your work on all over the place. People can find you on all platforms, and that you're offering so many healing on so many different parts. It was so lovely to find your story and to talk with you and to find so many similarities. It wasn't a coincidence that my first podcast was with you, Cheyenne, and it was lovely talking with you. So I will leave all your links in the description of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening to us today, and see you on the next episode. Bye, Cheyenne.
Bye.